So for 21 days, I had no food, just water, the occasional black coffee, sometimes tea with definitely no milk, cream or sugar or anything of the sort, and the occasional electrolytes. I cannot believe that I did it, and in this video, I am going to show you the results of what happens when you go on a water fast for 21 days. Here's a massive hint. The results are not just physical, they're definitely mental, but it's not for everybody. So let's talk about my experience. Stay tuned. Welcome to my channel. My name is Dels. Today's video is a bit of an unusual one, as you could tell from the title, because typically on this channel I talk about leveling up your career, travel, and basically building an international lifestyle. So if you're into things like that, make sure you subscribe, but you also get an extra benefit as well, because I'm going through this journey of fitness, water fasting, becoming a lot more disciplined in my lifestyle, and honestly it has given me so many rewards, and I'm going to share my journey with you. And if you're interested in that, definitely make sure you subscribe. If you're already a subscriber, welcome. Thanks for bearing with me. Now you know why I was basically AWOL on YouTube for about a month. But let's dive right into it. As I mentioned, this channel is usually about travel and careers and stuff like that. If you don't know me and we've just met, I'm a lawyer. My name is Dels. If you've ever watched Suit, you have a general understanding of the type of law that I've done for the past 8 years. There's a whole point to this. Essentially, I have a job that requires me to work very long hours, and to kind of compensate for that, I would eat a lot. I'm not going to dive into the whole emotional eating and stuff. If you guys want me to, I can talk about that in a different video. Just comment below and let me know. But essentially things got to a head when I first started my big international journey, when I moved to Dubai. That was one of the first times that I moved abroad for an extensive time. And the lifestyle in Dubai is very hard, but it can also be very decadent. So there's lots of brunches, parties, sounds really good, but then you're also doing super long hours as well. So what does that mean? The first thing that usually you lose is your health. So everyone, we call it the Dubai stone, basically. I felt like I blinked, and after about 2 months in Dubai, I'd put on 1 kilogram, 1 stone or 2. What is that in the US? Maybe that's about 12 pounds or so. And it just kept creeping up, right? And it got to a point where I'm very disciplined in every other aspect of my life, but show me sugar, show me good food, and I basically kind of start to lose it, and I just don't have any self-control. And for me, the irony is that I work with people and I really make them accountable, and I help them on their journey to becoming their best selves, especially in their career. But I knew that at the back of my mind, this is something that I needed to work on for myself. So obviously this is quarantine season, this is Corona time. I need her to go, please. I decided to move back to London to be closer to family, especially if this was going to be the end of the world, right? So I've come back to London. Everything happened in the space of 1 week. It wasn't planned at all. I literally had to move 7 years of my life to London. And then imagine going through all of that stress and then getting to a new city. London is kind of home, but it's still kind of new, and you don't have any support network or anything. Like, I do have them, but they're just nowhere near me. Friends, partner, whatever. No one is near me at all, right? So it was very difficult. And I found myself slipping into this house party wine routine, which I never do. I never drink at home alone. Not because I have a hard or fast rule about it, but it's just not something that I've done ever. And I would buy tubs of ice cream and stuff like that, and I would eat until I didn't even realize I was eating. And it got to a point where you're just like watching TV and you're just bleh. And I think we've all been there. I don't know about you guys watching this video, but if you feel me on this, if quarantine has started making you act out of character, then you know. So another thing about me is that I'm really big into biohacking and nerding. I'm a massive nerd. Like, my clients will tell you, oh my god, Adele just pulls all these random things out and it's really helpful. But I love learning from people, especially like high performing entrepreneurs like Tim Ferriss and Tim Billio of, I think that's how you pronounce his name, of Impact Theory here on YouTube. And one of the things they talk about a lot is water fasting and keto and stuff. And I'd done it before. I'd done it about about 3 years ago during Ramadan. And it didn't really count, to be honest, because all I did that weekend was just sleep for 3 days because I couldn't face the thought of not eating. And then on the third day, I didn't even make it through the rest of the day. And then I went for dinner with friends and it was back to normal, right? But essentially what water fasting is that you just drink water. I'm going to try and avoid this video being way too long. I'm just going to give you a brief backstory as to why I did this. I realized that I was becoming someone that I didn't recognize, and I also didn't want to maintain a facade for myself, you know, because I had to be honest, putting on a lot of weight. So when I moved to Dubai, I was 75 kilograms, which is what I currently weigh right now. No, I was 74. And when I left Dubai, I was around 86.4. So I'm going to add stats in every single section of this video so that you can see on day one, this is where I was. I didn't have my scales on day 0, which is I guess the first day. But on day 1, I bought some body analyzer scales and you can see where I started from. So with the water fast, all you do is consume water. You ought to consume electrolytes, which is a big mistake that I made. I didn't do it because I didn't know any better until day 4 hit me. And I was like, what is this? I feel like I'm going to faint. And at this point, I should say that I am not by any means, by any stretch of the imagination, encouraging you guys to do a water fast or take any sort of diet that could trigger you, that's not good for you, whatever. I'm not encouraging you to do that. Anything you do should be thoroughly researched. Bearing in mind, I've been studying biohacking for a few years. So I knew the theory, I just never really applied it into practice. And if you don't do water fasting safely and you watch some of these YouTube videos, remember, each one of us, our chemistry is different. It's also Corona time where, yes, fasting does boost the renewal of white skin cells or anything. Don't quote me on this. Basically, your immunity system could be compromised if you don't do this properly. So it's not something that I recommend. Just do your research and really, really think if this is something you want to do. I don't think anyone really needs to do a 21-day water fast. I had 30+% body fat, so I had more than enough to tide me through. But even when I started, I was only going for 3 days. So anyway, the idea was to go for 3 days. Then I watched a few videos when I wasn't feeling too well on day 3, when I woke up on day 4 and I was like, oh my God, what's happening? So I bought an electrolyte drink and that basically kind of fired me up. And essentially what happens then is that all of a sudden I felt I didn't really need coffee anymore. For some reason, I didn't even think about it. So I haven't had coffee now in about 10 days, which for me, I typically have 4 cups of coffee a day because you can't see them right now, but some of my textbooks are here, client files are over there, and I need to focus, you know, like sometimes when you're drafting contracts, it's not the most exciting thing. So coffee is something that I've been using as a crutch for many, many years, and sugar and all of that stuff. And let's not get into carbs. But it got to a point after day 4 that I was no longer hungry. And then I was like, okay, let's take it hour by hour, then day by day. Somehow I reached day 14. I'm going to post some pictures so that you guys can see what I look like at that point. And also what I did every day was weigh myself so I could see what changes were happening. I was monitoring my body fat. I was monitoring my water, my BMI, which is something I'm so proud of. And if you guys stay to the end of this video, you will see my face gains, my body gains, and everything that happened to me in 21 days. Essentially, I lost around 10.6 kilograms. I'm going to again add the screenshot so you can see. My understanding is that's around 22 pounds or so. And in pounds, like in English terms, that's just over a stone, if not 2. I'll put the conversions or whatever in here so that you can see. But I have literally lost so much weight. But the most important thing, which is the reason why I went on this, is that I have a newfound self-confidence in myself, knowing that I can be disciplined, knowing that I'm not a slave to the sugar, knowing that I definitely practice every element of what I preach and that I can be better. It got to a point where even during my fast, I was cooking. Like, I'm typically that type of cook that cooks and then eats as she cooks, and then when she's done cooking, she'll eat again. You guys didn't know all of this stuff about me. It's like, I feel like we're sharing, we're getting to new levels and stuff. But look, this channel is all about up-leveling, and I think that you can't get anywhere without being honest, and you can't get anywhere in particular without being honest to yourself. So that's kind of why I'm sharing this video, to let you guys know what my journey was like over 21 days. I can't believe I did it. If you guys want to know how I felt, the things things that I did to help me through my journey, then comment below, I'll let you know. But some of the questions that I received on Instagram were, did fasting affect my productivity levels? 100% yes, it did, because especially on day 14, I had a lot of energy from day 6, I would say, to day 14, but I knew that I shouldn't exercise, that you're not meant to do any hard exercise. So I didn't do that. I would go for walks for like half an hour or something and then forget it. But on day 14, I woke up so happy and like super gassed that I had done 14 days. So I was like, I think I can work out. Big mistake. Big mistake. Like, honestly, it was awful. I did one round of the Tone and Sculpt app, which is something that I absolutely recommend. I love Christy Steller's fitness app. So I did that. I couldn't even survive the whole 3 rounds. I just did one. And then I decided to go for a walk. And again, bearing in mind, I don't leave the house often. This is England. We're only allowed to go out for exercise. And because I knew that I was fasting and essentially like immunocompromised, I would only go out like once every 3 days or so. So on day 14, I hadn't been out. I decided to go for a long walk. Woohoo! 35-minute walk up the road. And then I quickly realized there was no way I was going to make it back home. And that basically screwed me over. I had to take an Uber back home and just recover. And bear in mind, I'm working as well. So essentially what would happen is, like, for the first half of the day, that was when I'd schedule all my client meetings. I'd do all of that. And by the time I was done by like lunchtime, all of my energy was gone. And your body does need rest to recover. And this is something that when I was looking at water fast videos on YouTube, many people don't really talk about. So this is something to bear in mind. Another question that I was asked was, what are electrolytes? Essentially, I think it's a blend of potassium, magnesium, and some other minerals that your body kind of loses when you are water fasting. And you need to replenish them because it helps in your healing process, amongst other benefits. I don't really know the science behind that. All I know is that it really helped me to get through the fasting process. But there's so many things that I could talk about with this, you know, what happened. For example, some physical changes, like my tongue was white, a metallic taste in my tongue. This is a very unusual topic for me, so I don't want to go in too deep about it unless you guys are interested. If you are, you could either comment below or send me a message on Instagram and I will talk about it in depth. But if you want an idea of how much weight I lost, like, I'm going to slot in the pictures. But right now, most of my clothes are stuck in shipping containers because, like I said, I left Dubai in a hurry because I wanted to be back closer to my family in London, and I only took a few clothes or whatever. But this dress used to be super tight on me. Look how baggy it is. I don't know if you guys can see it. I'm falling out of it. So I'm really sorry if I flash you guys during this video. My face gains, you know, in terms of my structure are completely incredible. But what might surprise you guys is that if you haven't been following this channel for a long time, you might think, oh my God, she's so skinny. I am naturally skinny. This is why when I started putting on a lot of weight, I was having a lot of health issues that I didn't really talk about on this channel. For example, arthritis, like knee problems and stuff, which I used to be the type of person that never got ill. And it became absolutely ridiculous because obviously your diet plays a big part. And then when you're working in a sedentary job, it doesn't help you. I'm not even at the weight that I was when I moved to Dubai. It's fine. I moved to Dubai like 7 years ago, so I don't need to be that skinny again. I was in my 20s. That's okay. What I'm more concerned with right now is toning up and getting muscle. I'm actually still 29% body fat and I weigh 75 kilograms, which I think in the US is about maybe 165 or so. Again, I'll post the conversion. So don't be alarmed if this is the first time that you've seen me looking like this. My OGs on this channel, when I still used to do hair videos and stuff, will recognize. But yeah, this is my crazy update. 21 days, no food. What do you guys think? If you guys enjoyed this video, do you want me to talk a lot more about it? Do you have questions? Remember, please do not think about this as a diet. Remember, I didn't go into this with any intention of even smelling 5 days on the fast. I went just for 3 days because I was well and truly disgusted with myself. And there's no fat shaming or anything here. It's just, you know yourself, you know what you're like behind closed doors. You cannot lie to yourself, right? And I will tell you guys, because, you know, we're friends and we're being honest, I can literally smell a Haagen-Dazs tub of ice cream and demolish it in half an hour and not even blink and not share it with anyone. That's not good for you. It's not even acceptable when you're a teenager, but you can kind of get away with it. But when you are an adult, a fully functioning adult, everyone knows that much sugar is not good for you, then you really need to ask yourself, like, why? Why is this something that you're so dependent on, right? I wasn't even going to talk about coffee because I wasn't intending to give up coffee. I was like, let's give up one thing at a time. And the idea was clean your body, do a soft detox with just water. And I took it one day at a time. And it's not something that I would recommend for people to just dive into because you've seen a YouTube video. Like, it's hard. It's doable, but it's hard. And people can die from water fasting. And look, this is the lawyer side coming out and giving you all of the disclaimers. Don't say Dels told you. Dels did not tell you to do a water fast. Dels is telling you to be aware, like, be conscious. Don't leave quarantine worse than you went into it, which is very important for me. Actually, like, I definitely did not want to leave the quarantine like entering 90 kgs. I think that would have taken me like nearly like 200 pounds. I wasn't that far off from it. But also it's just like, you know, when you're not healthy, you know, like I knew that I looked good and I was happy with my body in a way, but I wasn't happy with my health. And I lived in a country where there's the beach every weekend and stuff, and you know, you're hiding away because you're not confident, or you're not wearing the clothes in your wardrobe because they don't fit and you refuse to buy new ones. Like, why are you going through this cycle? Why are you doing this to yourself? So that's something that I wanted to address, and the idea was to do a soft reset for 3 days. But like I mentioned, that soft reset turned into 5 days and then 14 days, and on day 14 I was like, I can do this for longer. But let's be real, when it hit day 19, it was tough. So I can talk about that in another video, but I want you guys first to make sure you tell me whether this has been insightful and that you've enjoyed it, and post your questions below and I will answer all of them. Thank you so much for watching this video. See you soon and be safe, please. Bye.